Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to play 2 missions from previous editions using 9E lore and rules in this split battle report. If that's not to your liking, then thank you for tuning in, but it's now time for you to book your one-way ticket to the demon world called Sikaris, where beneath a roiling sky of fire and blood, you will build and rebuild vast sprawling cathedrals, temples and monuments dedicated to the worship of the ruinous powers. If you've escaped that fate, let's take a look at the missions. The Emperor's Children's massacre of the procession reversed the decline of Slaanesh's presence on Shrine World. The tormented screams of the slaughtered Daughters of Charity in Cardinal's City reinvigorated the Dark Prince's demonic servants to new feats of excess and slaughter. Waves of colonists sent to repopulate the planet fell prey to Slaanesh's predations, their faith in the God Emperor weakened by the suppressants they had used to reach the Shrine World. The second fall of Shrine World left the Daughters of Charity overwhelmed. Unable to protect the Shrine cities their pious procession liberated with the Emperor's light, the forlorn Daughters of Charity retreat. With the Emperor's children and demons of Slaanesh closing in, the Daughters of Charity's last stand is in Shrine Capital's Basilica. There, the Daughters will fight until their inevitable death. The Daughters of Charity's only salvation is a faith switch, discovered in the catacombs of the Basilica. The faith switch activates a beacon which harnesses the energies of collective worship. Scriptures written by Aurelian, his first name erased, describe the beacon's potential to radiate beams of holy light. He speculated that these beams had the potential to burn those who do not believe in the Emperor's divinity. However, to activate the beacon, the Sceptre of Correction must be found in the arid lands. The Daughters defending the Basilica must repel the servants of Slaanesh, comprising of traitor Astartes of the Emperor's children and demons, long enough for the pilgrimage to find the sceptre and use it to activate the faith switch. I'm being very ambitious today. This will be a split battle report from the Arid Lands and Shrine Capital's Basilica. The Emperor's children and Slaanesh demons have 2 goals: seize the sceptre from the Arid Lands and destroy the inactive faith switch in the Basilica. To represent the narrative, 2 missions will be played simultaneously in this split battle report: the Eternal War mission, Relic, and Fight to the Death from the Chaos Demons section in the Battle Missions book. Have you brought your copy yet from eBay? If the Daughters of Charity hold the Sceptre of Correction at the end of the Eternal War mission, the returning remnants of the pilgrimage will appear with the sceptre in the last turn of the Fight to the Death at the Basilica to activate the faith switch. If the traitor Astartes and demons of Slaanesh capture the sceptre, it will not appear in the battle mission Fight to the Death. The defending Daughters of Charity will fight to the death knowing all hope of activating the switch is lost. The secret of the Sceptre of Correction has been safe for 10 millennia, since Aurelian founded their order, and for most of that time, the Sisters of Correction have been prepared to do anything to keep it safe. To stop knowledge of the faith switch reaching Canoness Superior Cleona, her Dialogus was mysteriously murdered in the catacombs. Unfortunately, the disguised Sister of Correction failed to raise the Dialogus' personal log detailing her discovery. What the Sisters of Correction lack in new material to carry out their oath, their flamer weaponry is well maintained, passed from one sister to the next. What they lack in full suits of working power armour, their extreme conviction to face and cut down any who even mention the sceptre is undisputed. The Sisters of Correction's numbers are bolstered by self-serving members of the Shrine Synod. Several bishops who believe the sceptre would enhance their influence are strapped to penitent engines, regretting their hubris. And those sisters who dare to abandon their oath die protecting the sceptre. The Repentia, whether they desire forgiveness or not, will receive the God Emperor's mercy through eviscerating his servants or enemies who stray too close to the sceptre. Inquisitor Peter Abraxan leads the Sisters of Correction into battle to protect the sceptre. Those captured face trial at the feet of his ancient war machine, the Throne of Correction. He is accompanied by a Lexomechanic, who acts as a scribe to record their deeds, and who is cybernetically linked into the throne itself. His execution servitor mans the throne's primary weapon, a master-crafted multi-melter of unparalleled range and strength. The Emperor's children have made their prayers to Slaanesh. They have arrived randomly in the arid lands. Their goal is to take possession of the Sceptre of Correction. The Sisters of Correction must hold out at all costs. All their number are here today. The secretive order, small in number, has little hope to succeed. The Daughters of Charity will arrive soon. Their pilgrimage has one goal, similar to that of the Emperor's children. They must capture the Sceptre of Correction so that they can activate the faith switch. There's no psychic this round because the composer, with his warp talents, is waiting for the Sisters of Correction to become undisciplined, to run forward in holy rage so that they can cut them down in a counter-charge. It's the melter fire from the Terminators at the penitent engines. They're wounded, there's no armour saves to make because the AP is far too great. Let's see what damage they do. So they do 6 damage. Let's see how much of that damage the penitents can shrug. Let's see how many of those former bishops want to stay alive to redeem themselves in the eyes of their emperor. Not bad at all. So they've only taken 2 wounds of damage. The penitent engines have withstood the plasma and flamer fire from the Terminators, just as well as they did against the Melter fire. Perhaps the Emperor will forgive them their trespasses, trying to take the scepter of correction for their own political gain in the Synod on Shrine World. So we've got some dice rolls to make because the Bolter fire has been much better. You can see we've got 6 wound hits there, which give an additional -1 to AP. So I've got 6 AP -1 bolter shots to save at 5 up, and I've got 1 standard one at 4 up. So I'm going to do the standard one first and save that one. Let's see what happens with the 6 I need 5. So I save 2. This could kill a penitent engine. Let's see. 5 to shrug. I shrug 1. One of the penitent engines is destroyed. So, at a single frequency, the Blastmaster from that squad of Noise Marines has managed to wound once. Because the penitent engines only have a 4+ save, the AP of the weapon is far greater, therefore it's 4 damage straight away. But can I shrug any of them? I shrug 1. This is not looking good for that left flank. So the Legionnaires and the Exalted Champion, who you can see here, have taken one of the penitent engines off the board. They've destroyed it. The sonic weaponry of the Noise Marines, who you can see in front of you, are going to attack next. I am going to use a stratagem called Excruciating Frequencies. It costs 2 CP. It will enable the Noise Marines on wound rolls of 6 to cause mortal wounds as well. They're also in half range, so that's going to be really, really handy, and they're going to get a +1 because of that for their damage. And the reason why Excruciating Frequencies is very significant for this round of shooting is the bottom description here. I do not want those penitent engines, if they survive with their flamer weapons, to overwatch the Legionnaires who are going to charge with the Exalted Champion, who's the Warlord today, which you already know from the narrative description at the start of the battle. So let's see what happens. I'm going to zoom out slightly. Okay, so you can see there. Pull that to one side. So we are in wanton slaughter, so any 6s would be exploding to hit. We have 2 hits. It is strength 8, so we need 3s to wound. We wound once. However, that is an additional AP, and it is a mortal wound. Very handy indeed. So let's see how much damage that's going to be for the penitent engine to shrug. It's 4 damage, so let's see if it shrugs them. It shrugs 3 of them. And does it shrug the mortal wound? It doesn't. So another penitent engine has taken 2 wounds so far. So the sonic blasters are fired, causing 5 wounds. These 2 cause 2 mortal wounds, which I can see if I can shrug with the penitent engines. I don't. So already we've got 4 wounds on the penitent engine. They only need 1 more. These are an additional AP, so they are AP -2, so I need 6s to save. These ones here, I need 5, so let's start with those.
Well, I saved all 3 of those using the wrong dice. Naughty. Doesn't matter. Let's see if I do as good with the sisters dice here. So I need 6s. I do not. That one there causes a further 2 damage, killing that penitent engine, and the final penitent engine only has 3 wounds left.
The combined firepower of the Emperor's Children's sonic and combi weaponry has reduced the number of penitent engines by 50%. The Sisters of Correction are taking significant damage, and that's reflected in the number of the minions left on the board. They will have to take a morale check to see whether they stay. Next up is charging. Let's see with that 6 whether those legionnaires make it. No, they're going to be way out. And with a 7, yep, the Exalted Champion is in. Like so. So these Terminators, let's see if they get in against those Dominions. If I just swing it around slightly, you might be able to just see them there. So let's bring it down, make this a live roll. With a 9, they should be in. So let's just put that there and measure that round, like so. Yeah. Remember, every phase has the potential to be a movement phase as well. So at least 1, yeah, 2 to have made it in. I've already used Overwatch. With this being a narrative game, I suppose I could Overwatch again, but I'm not going to, because I've got to consider the Daughters of Charity, who will be coming into turn 1 as well, who might want to be using some of the command points that this combined force has. I'm playing it as 2 separate armies, but because they're from the same faction, it kind of makes sense to share the same number of command points, as that would be a slightly unfair on the Emperor's Children. Unbound Arrogance, you each choose a number from 1 to 3, and if the numbers are equal, then nothing happens. If the numbers are different, then you gain your number as additional attacks. Because I'm playing on my own, I'm going to roll 2d6 to determine this. So let's see, and it'll be d3. So both numbers are the same, so I gain no additional attacks. So I get 5 attacks. I need 2s to hit. That's all of them. I now need 3s to wound. So, because of the Emperor's Children's Legion traits, these are an additional AP. So it is now, the Power Fist now is -4, so that cuts straight through that Penitent engine, causing 2 damage each. These 2 here are -3 and do the same. So I've got 8 damage to Shrug. Let's see what happens. I managed to Shrug 3 of them, but the 5 that go through destroy that Penitent engine. The unbound arrogance of the Exalted Champion may have got him into trouble. He is rather exposed, but is within the outskirts of the building, containing the Scepter of Correction. And that's all that matters to him. The Sisters of Correction have passed both their morale checks, and they are ready now to push back the Emperor's Children. And then we will have the Daughters of Charity entering this battle too in turn 1, just in the same way as the Emperor's Children have. They've not managed to muster a large pilgrimage to the arid lands. Their forces, what's left of them, are tied up in Shrine's capital city at the Basilica, which you will see after we have completed the Daughters of Charity and Sisters of Correction's first turn. Because the Sisters of Correction have Conviction of Faith, any miracle dice they roll, which is a 1, they are able to re-roll it. So let's see what happens. And they get a 4, so that's a bit better, might be handy for shooting or damage. The Daughters of Charity are going to enter the battle in the same way as the Emperor's Children. I'm going to roll randomly for it. What's interesting though is whether or not the Sisters of Correction decide to fire upon them. It's their duty alone to protect the Sceptre of Correction from friend and foe. So let's see what happens. Refrain of Blazing Piety from Dialogus. It needs a 3. It goes off. It causes D3 mortal wounds to the Terminator unit which killed the Dominions. Let's see how many wounds it causes. It causes 3 mortal wounds, killing that front Terminator. As you can see, I've just pan over. There's those. There we are. The first casualty for the Emperor's Children. I want to improve the Dogmata in combat, so I'm going to pray for the Psalm of Righteous Smiting so that she gets add 1 to her strength and attacks, improve her armor penetration by 1, and giving her the ability, if she's in engagement range, to fight twice. So let's see on a 3-up. Yes, that is off. With holy fervour, the Sisters of Correction march towards their enemies in an attempt to stop them from taking the Sceptre of Correction. While they do so, the Daughters of Charity enter the arid lands, surprised to see another order fighting the Emperor's Children. They believed that they were the only Imperial forces left on Shrine World. For now, they will fight together until the Sisters of Correction decide to deal with them. The Immolator supporting the Novitiates, who are going to charge after firing themselves at the Noise Marines, has just got 12 heavy flamer hits against them. So freeze to wound. Okay, so that one's going to be AP -2. The rest are just standard saves. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So 9. 9 standard saves for the Noise Marines. There's 1 dead, and then a 4-up, and another one takes a wound. The Battle Sisters protecting the Sceptre of Correction are going to fire their flamer weapons at the Legionnaires with the chainswords to help the Repentia. They have right to fire, adding 4 inches to the range of their flamer weapons. 2 Ministorm Flamers, 9 shots. Meaning freeze to wound because it's strength 5. 5 wounds. No AP because of Armour of Contempt. Let's see if these Legionnaires save it. They lose a Legionnaire. The bolt guns in the unit, however, will fire at the Noise Marines behind them. But they have noticed the Immolator approaching, which isn't one of theirs. They haven't seen armour in a very long time. They've read about it in scripture, but their own armour has long gone, long been destroyed or forgotten about. And because of that, one of the sisters will throw a crack grenade at the approaching.
Crack grenade has hit. Does it wound on a 5? It doesn't. But the Daughters of Charity have noticed that this order of sisters use them suspiciously. Questioning the orders of Inquisitor Peter Abraxan, the canoness of the Sisters of Correction said, "Consider what you do here, Abraxan. Remember what Aurelian himself said. Destroying Shrinewell to save the scepter is no victory, and ending a battle to save it is no defeat." Inquisitor Peter Abraxan's mastercrafted multi-noter hits once, wounds once, goes straight through the Exalted Champion's power armour. He's within half range, which is 15 inches because it's mastercrafted. So let's see, d6 plus 2 for 6 damage. The Exalted Champion is... The Sisters of Correction's firing was accurate, but unfortunately it's going to take hand-to-hand combat to finish them off, and that will be a significant risk to them. They will be charging, but because the Emperor's Children always fight first, there's going to be alternating combat, so it's going to be really, really tricky to decide who goes first without hampering the chances of another unit who are going to have to wait their turn because the Emperor's Children will hit them first. The charge is successfully made. The Sisters of Correction make their last stand. We've got both Repentia squads fighting, as well as Inquisitor Abraxan, who made a 12-inch charge to support the depleted Repentia against the Legionnaires with their chainswords. The Novitians have managed to get into combat thanks to their sacred banner against the Noise Marines, and the Penitent Engines are going to show their faith by destroying the Terminators in front of them. The only disadvantage the Sisters of Correction have are the large numbers of Emperor's Children lying in wait, allowing the Sisters of Correction to exhaust themselves, and in doing so they should have a clear way to the Scepter of Correction. So the Repentia get 10 attacks. They've got Eviscerators, so they are at -1 to hit, so they're hitting on 4s but can re-roll because of Zealot. They have also are right next to a Sister Superior who adds +1 to their wound rolls as well. So let's make a start. So we need 4s to hit. Okay, not bad at all, really, 50%. Have a chance to roll these, so maybe a couple more. Excellent, all 10. So all 10 have hit. They're strength 3, but it's double their strength. So they're strength 6. Against toughness 4, they need 3s. But 2s will be okay because of +1 on the dice thanks to the Sister Superior. Okay, so that's when you need a Palatine. So you've got 6 to save the Legionnaires. They would be -3, but they are now -2, so I need 5. So altogether, doing 2 damage each, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Legionnaires are dead. So the Terminators are going to fight next against the other squad of the Repentia, which they've already damaged with Overwatch, killing 4 of their number. They get 3 attacks each. They are strength 4, but +1 because of the cursive weapons are strength 5. But before that, they need 3 to hit. So, 4 hit. Let's see what happens. Need 3s to wound. 3 wounds. These do 1 damage each. So, on 5s and 6s, the sisters, Repentia, will be okay. So only 1 dies. The Inquisitor's mastercrafted power sword gets 4 attacks. He needs 3s to hit. Ugh. Only hits once. Strength 5. Toughness 4, need a 3. He doesn't wound. What about the Throne of Judgment stomping feet? So 2d3. Okay, so 4. 3s to hit. Okay, so 3 hits. Strength 5, toughness 4, need 3s. Wow. Well, that's made up for it. So these are -1, so just 3 free ups, but that Legionnaire has got to make it. If it doesn't, he will be dead. Like so. Because of Psalm of the Righteous Smiting, the Dogmata gets an extra attack, giving her 4 attacks against the Terminators, and an additional +1 strength, which will come in handy as well. The nice thing is, her armor penetration also improves by 1, and at the end of the fight phase, if she's in engagement range of any enemy units, she gets to fight again. So this could come in handy. This could turn the tide in that battle. As you can see, if I zoom in, you can just see it's not the traditional Dogmata model. I'm using a novitiate with a mace, just to differentiate them from the Sisters of Correction to the Daughters of Charity, just to differentiate the 2 orders that's on the battle board. But let's see what she can do. 3s to hit. So she hits 3 times. Her Mace of the Righteous is actually +3, so she needs 3s to wound. She wounds 3 times. They are -2, so they're -1, so 3 ups. But these are, don't forget, they would be -2. But because of the Psalm of the Righteous Smiting, they are now an additional AP, so they're -3, -2, so 4 ups, so 3 4-ups. So 2 Terminators saved there, and 1 takes 2 wounds. The Dogmata gets to fight again. Let's see how she gets on. She hits 4 times. She's really angry. +1 strength. Rather than hitting on +2, it's +3, so strength 6. So need 3s. 3 wounds. These are -3, so they're -2. So 3 4-ups. These do 2 damage each. So 4 damage taken to the Terminators, killing another Terminator. The Sisters of Correction have broken the first wave of Emperor's Children onto the Scepter of Correction. Unfortunately for them though, the second wave is coming. And I very much doubt, without the help of the Daughters of Charity, that they stand a chance of holding out.
Many kinds of worship. They all start in prayer. The collective pain and suffering of the Daughters of Charity at the broken basilica was comforting to the Holy Order's prayers. They drew parallels in their shattered state to that of the God Emperor they worship and serve. If pain brought the Daughters of Charity closer to their God Emperor's own suffering, Palatine Patricia would inspire her sisters to endure new agonies in hope of salvation on Shrine World. With no fear of death, deposed cardinals strapped to penitent engines regained their pious calling in servitude to the God Emperor. Tearing the linen from their once fearful eyes to cut down the deadly demonettes with flame and flail, the repentant cardinals, hardwired into the front of the war machine, fully exposed to the demonette's claws and maws, rely on the Emperor's judgment to keep them safe or take their life. Unburdened by power armour and the claim to life, the Repentia move faster over the ruined grounds of Shrine's Basilica. Disgraced, they pray for salvation. They pray for redemption, in life or death. The Repentia superiors remind them to lift up their hearts to the Emperor, even as death takes them.
I'm very excited to roll my first ever Warp Storm dice. You roll 8 dice in total. Each dice represents 1 point on the Chaos star. So let's see what happens. Okay, I have available to me 4 Warp dice. Playing Slaanesh, that means I could play Mesmerizing Dance, which is worth 4. The Daughters of Charity want to defend the Faith Switch. They are making a last stand at the Basilica and will be using the Open War card to represent that. The demons, however, they want to smash through the remaining Daughters of Charity on Shrine World to destroy the Faith Switch, just in case the Daughters of Charity in the Arid Lands manage to locate and retrieve the Sceptre of Correction. And because of that, I can't decide who goes first, so I'm going to roll. It will be the Daughters of Charity. The only way I can see the Daughters of Charity being successful today in defending the Faith Switch is if the Repentia and the Penitent Engines and the Arcoflagellants move forward, ready to face the Demonettes, who will be in charge range in their first turn. Now I know that feels like a bit of a sacrifice, bringing them forward. But the way I see it is it's better to have the Demonettes fight here so that the superior firepower at the back, when they break through, can pick them off before they charge again. So that's what we're going to do. The Repentia, who are made up of all those sisters who ran away from the procession in part 4. The Penitent Engines, which have cardinals strapped to them who dared to follow the teachings of Urban when they knew he was being heretical, are all going to move forward in an attempt to find redemption, in an attempt to seek the Emperor's forgiveness. They'll get it in their deaths, of course, but let's see what happens next when I move these forward. So the Penitent Flamers are going to go into these Demonettes here. So we've got 6d6 Flamer hits from the Penitents into the Demonettes. Let's see what happens. So 18, 22, 24, 26 hits. the emulative power of these flamers to burn through the tainted flesh of the Demonettes is strength 6. So let's see if they survive. 26 wounds, needing 2s to wound. Right, quite a few 1s. So 20 hits, so 19 wounds. 19 wounds there. So these will be saved on 4-ups. So 19 saves to make. Okay, that's not too bad. Maybe one or two might have survived. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are dead. Good saving. So, the Exorcist missiles. Let's see how many I get. Altogether then, 3, 6, that's okay. So, we need 3s to hit. We hit 5 times. We now need strength 8 against toughness 7. One of the weaknesses of a Keeper of Secrets. Need 3s. So that is 4 saves to make. AP has no meaning to demons. So these are just 4 up invulnerables. And fails all of them. That's going to be 4d6 damage. Let's see what happens. Okay, so 12 wounds. Even though the Exorcist behind the outcrop of trees in the lava plains of the Basilica cannot see the Keeper of Secrets, I'm going to use Devastating Refrain so that one of them can fire at her. Oh Slaanesh, why do you punish me so? So it's 3d6 damage, doing 10 wounds altogether. They need an 8 to charge. I'm going to re-roll one of my charge dice, thanks to the Imagifier. Yes, they make it with a 9. Five attacks on the Torment Bringer, needing 4s to hit. So I hit twice with the Penitent Buzzblades. These are +3 strength. So strength 8, need 2s to wound. Both wound. They do cause 2 damage each. So the Torment Bringer, using her melee save a 5-up. Let's see what happens. Saves 1 and takes 2 damage. The 2 Penitent Engines on the Demonettes. Let's see what happens. Need 4s to hit. Okay. So that is 6 hits, 2s to wound, all wounded, and 6 saves to make a 5-up. AP doesn't matter to demons. So they lose 5. The Transweaver, which I've been calling a Torment Bringer, aims to deliver some torment against the Penitent Engines, as they are the only model left in combat. They get 5 attacks. So let's see what happens in the 2s to hit. They can re-roll the hit of 1 because of the Keeper of Secrets, so they hit 5 times. They do need 5s to wound. They wound 3 times. These are at -2, I believe. So let's see, -2. Yeah, they are. So the Penitent Engines need 6s to save. None of them. They now need to roll 6 dice. Because they are berserk killing machines, they will ignore the damage and fire up. Wow. So they only take 1 wound. It's of vital importance that both Keepers of Secrets get into combat. They're at half wounds, they're in their middle brackets. So by getting them into combat this turn, they will be able to regenerate some of their lost wounds. Ready for swift, taloned slaughter. The Slaanesh demons' approach is both majestic and frightening at the same time for the Daughters of Charity, who are watching from the tops of the Basilica's parapets. They know that the sisters below them face death. The Emperor's children are tied up in the arid lands, trying to find the Sceptre of Correction before the Daughters of Charity retrieve it. We are entering the psychic phase. The Keeper of Secrets, the warlord of the Slaanesh demon host, is going to cast Cacophonic Choir to produce an ear-piercing chorus of warp-infused screams at the Repentia. If she is able to reduce their number, that will hopefully enable the demons to break through sooner. So it's a warp charge 7, goes off with a 9. The leadership of the Keeper of Secrets is 10. The Repentia's leadership is 8. So that attack causes 2 mortal wounds. Because the Daughters of Charity follow the order of the Valious Heart's Creed, they are able to shrug mortal wounds on a 5 up. 2 5 up saves. So 1 dies. The Emperor's children are very much playing a supporting role in this battle. They are going to offer precise firepower to the demons so that when they charge, their threat potential is at maximum. So they can hit the Daughters of Charity without taking significant damage back. We are in wanton destruction, so any 6s to hit will be exploding 6s with the single frequency from the Blastmaster. The Blastmaster the Marine carrying the Blastmaster, the Noise Marine carrying the Blastmaster has moved, but the Emperor's Children, because of their flawless perfection, ignore all minuses to hit. So I need 3s to hit with my 3 dice. I get 2 exploding 6s. This is a very good start for that precise supporting fire. We need 2s to wound. So altogether, we have 4 wounds. Now this is crucial because the 2 6s I get an additional AP because of flawless perfection. So these 2 here are going to be -4, these 2 here -3. But because of Armour of Contempt, -2, -3. Sonic Blasters. So we have altogether 8 hits. These are strength 4, need 3s. So we've got 3 standard saves. These increase the AP by 1, so they're -2. So I need 4s there. So another 2 die from that unit. And then I've got to make another save and 3 up. So we lose another 2. Sonic Blasters. So we have altogether 8 hits. These are strength 4, need 3s. So we've got 3 standard saves. These increase the AP by 1, so they're -2. So I need 4s there. So another 2 die from that unit. And then I've got to make another save and 3 up. So we lose another 2. Because I played Demon Forge in the command phase, it's +1 on the dice rolls to hit with the Decimator. So the Decimator is going to fire their butcher cannons at the unit of sisters carrying Ministorum Flamers. So 2s on the dice. So that one misses. Everything else hits. These are strength 7. So need 2s to wound. We wound 6 times. They are -2. But because of Armour of Contempt, -1. So we need 4s on the dice. They cause 2 damage each. 5 die. The Warlord, with its living whip, is going to try and strangle as many of the Repentia as possible. The only danger of doing that is the Demonettes at the front may lose their ability to charge, and that's why I'm holding back activating the Warp Storm until the end of shooting, so that I can decide exactly what I want to do, because they may need that +1 to reach the Repentia, particularly if I take from the front, which I will do. Narratively, that's where the Living Whip is going to hit. It's just in range with 12 inches. These are my holy dice available to me at the Basilica. The Living Whip is Assault 6, so I need 2s to hit. So I hit all 6 times. I need 2s to wound. Okay, so these cause 2 damage each. So they cause 2 damage each. Solace in Anguish means on a 5 up, I can shrug some of that damage. So I'm going to use that 5 to remove that dice. see how many save. So 4 die. The Decimator carrying the Soul Burner Petard. So he gets 2d3 assault on this. He's carrying 2 of them, so that's 4d3. So we get 2, 5, 6, 7 shots. We need 2s to hit. 3s to hit, sorry. 3s to hit. Okay. On 2s, these cause mortal wounds. So we've got 6 mortal wounds against the Penitent Engines. They will shrug these because they are Berserker machines. We'll shrug these on 5s. Okay, so save 3 of them. 3 go through, so one of the Penitent Engines has 1 wound left. I think it's crucial that the Noise Marines use excruciating frequencies. I think this because the Fiends are going to face 6 heavy flamers in Overwatch when they charge. By using excruciating frequencies, it will stop them from having that ability to overwatch. So even if they don't cause any damage, as long as they hit, they're not going to be able to overwatch when we get into the charge phase. So I think that's really crucial. Now, the Blastmaster on a single frequency is heavy free. We are going to, we have moved, but we ignore penalties to hit because we are the Emperor's Children. So I need 3s to hit. 6s will be exploding because of wanton destruction. So I missed there, but I get an extra hit. So 3 hits, strength 8, toughness 5, need 3s. Okay, so that's now AP minus 4, and that's a 6 on the wound roll as well, so that causes a mortal wound. So I'm going to put the mortal wound to one side a moment. I can't, unfortunately, I cannot save these. So they cause 3 damage each, so I've got 9 shrugs to make because they are Berserker machines. They do not feel pain in the same way as we do because their bodies are pumped with not only their own adrenaline but also chemicals to keep them alive while strapped to those machines. So I need 9 shrugs, 10 including the mortal wound, so 5 ups. Okay, so that kills 1 Penitent Engine, that kills another, oh that's a save there, and that kills another, so 2 of the Penitent Engines are destroyed.
The sonic weaponry of the Emperor's Children has broken through the flanks of the Daughters of Charity's defence, making Overwatch difficult because their flamer weapons have been destroyed.
I'm going to spend 3 Warp Storm points so that lightning speed is in play, giving the demons a +1 to their charge rolls. So I'm starting with the Demonettes. They have a 12-inch charge, so they need 11 on their dice. They get 9, they're not in. The The Keeper of Secrets needs 11 on the dice to charge the Battle Sisters, who will Overwatch. So, needs 11 on the dice, plus 1 gives the Keeper of Secrets 12. That Keeper of Secrets will be in combat. However, that's the Melter squad of Sisters, so the 2 Melter guns need 6s. Neither of them hit. The multi-melter, one of the multi-melters hits. Right, so strength 8, toughness 7, we need a 3. It wounds. The Keeper of Secrets really does need a 4 up here. It doesn't. I will attempt to re-roll with a command re-roll. Still doesn't. It's going to be D6 plus 2 for 3 wounds. Taking that Keeper of Secrets down to 5 wounds. The Demonettes need 6 on the dice. Definitely in with plus 1. Fantastic. Keeper of Secrets into the Repentia. Doesn't make it. They are a joy turned to horror. Want become need, become obsession. Surging sinuous across the field of war. Their every caress is a knife thrust. Their every sighing exhalation, a howl that bursts hearts and shatters bones. Hideously beautiful, savagely delicate, they promise only delightful misery, garbed in the desperate finery of unattainable fulfillment. So the Keeper of Secrets is on its bottom bracket. Its snapping claws are Malefic 4. So that means it gets 4 additional attacks. It needs 4s to hit. It hits 5 times. These are strength 6, toughness 3, need 2s. 3 saves to make. They are -4, reduced to -3, so I need 6s on the dice. 1 saved, 2 die. But then moving on to the Wit Stealer Sword. Now, the Keeper of Secrets been on its lowest bracket, gets 4 attacks with the sword, needs 4s to hit, hits once, clearly wounded. It is +2 to its strength, so it's actually strength 8, doesn't matter, needs a 2. It wounds. This is -3, so need a 6. Would be a 5 I need because of Armour of Contempt. Doesn't matter anyway. A further sister is dead, totaling 3. The Keeper of Secrets cast Hysterical Frenzy on the Demonettes fighting the Repentia in the psychic phase. That means any 6s are an additional hit, and they add 1 to their hit characteristic. So in total, I have got 50. Yes, I said that right. 50 attacks with the Demonettes. I need to add 1 more dice because of the Alurus. She gets normally 5, but gets 6. So I've slowly got a spare purple dice. I've used all my pink dice up by the looks of it. And now I've got to try and attempt to pick these up and roll 3s to hit. Crikey. Oh, dropping a few. Here goes. So, I'll sort these out and come back in a moment. With the exploding sixes, I've hit 33 times. However, I rolled 10 ones. And because the Keeper of Secrets is a Demon Lord of Slaanesh, I can re-roll those. So, that's an additional hit too, so 35. $38 hits altogether. These are strength 4, toughness freeze, need freeze to wound. Right, here goes. I'll come back to you. 25 solace in anguish saves to make. As you can see, it was a good attempt, but the Repentia are dead. I'm not, however, going to remove the Repentia from the field of battle, because I'm going to use Desperate for Redemption. Even the most grievous... I think I've had a bit of cognitive overload. When I was fighting with the Keeper of Secrets, I doubled the claw attacks, the snapping claws. Well, I'm going to let that stand. But now we've got 2 barbed tails hitting the penitent engine. Let's see. So they're 1 hit. It needs a 4 to wound. Doesn't wound. Now one of them is the Blissbringer. So that one gets 5 attacks. The other one gets 4 attacks. Using the same dissecting claws. So they now need 3s to hit. Okay. Strength 5, toughness 5, need 4s to wound. Now these are -2. So I'm going to get 4 6-ups. None. They do 2 damage each. So now, because I am a berserker killing machine, I don't feel pain in the same way as others, because I'm seeking redemption. So this time then I need 5s to shrug the damage. The chances are this penitent engine is dead. No, it's not. It survives with 1 wound remaining. So the Archovagilants unfortunately have to face 41 attacks on the Demonettes. So Demonettes need 3s to hit. Very difficult to hold all these dice at once. I'll come back to you. So 21 have hit. Not as effective as the first set of Demonettes, because the Keeper of Secrets isn't close enough to enable them to reroll their wands. So here goes. These 4s to wound. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11. So out of the 11 wounds, because the Archovagilants are berserk killing machines, I need 5s to shrug each wound. Not bad at all. I only lose 4 Archovagilants. So the Repentia, desperate for redemption, get 15 attacks. They normally get 2 attacks each. A War Hymn was successful, so that means they get 1 additional attack. They need 4s to hit because their Eviscerators are difficult to carry. They're often bigger than they are, and they have to swing them with 2 hands. So makes them a bit more difficult to hit. However, they do get a +1 on their wounding rolls thanks to the Overseer of Redemption aura from the Repentia Superior. So 4s to hit. Not bad. So 9 hits in total. They need 2s to wound. It is double their strength. Strength 6. I can't add one to those dice. Ones are ones, unfortunately. So the Demonettes have 6 saves to make. 6 5-up invulnerable saves. Three are dead. As expected by the Daughters of Charity, their fallen sisters have largely died. However, the tactic hasn't worked as well as Palatine Patricia would have hoped. She would have wanted, yes, the demons to take the casualties that they've taken, but she would have hoped they wouldn't be in combat so that the daughters defending the Basilica could pick them off with their superior firepower. We're now going back to the arid lands to see whether the Emperor's Children can claim the Scepter of Correction. The Emperor's Children and the Sisters of Correction have fought a fierce battle so far. They have, in the first turn, reached a stalemate, with the first wave of the Emperor's Children depleted. But to the second wave to come, the Sisters of Correction need the support of the Daughters of Charity right now. Even though they don't want to admit it, without them, there would be no hope of holding on to the Scepter of Correction. So we're going to move into the psychic phase. Let's see if the Composer can influence this battle rather than wait. From the Composer doesn't go off. So the Composer unfortunately failed with Smite. So we're going into the shooting phase, and these Noise Marines who advanced are going to use the Assault profile of their sonic weapons to try and remove some of these novitiates of the Sisters of Correction, so that the Warp Talons here have a clear path towards the Scepter of Correction. Let's see what happens. Because we're in Wanton Massacre, the Blastmaster on a Farid frequency Assault 6 will mean any 6s will be exploding 6s. Give me additional hits. So let's see what happens. Okay, for all that explanation, nothing. But the other Sonic Blasters may receive that increase in firing. Let's see. So 4 have hit. These are only strength 5. So we need 3s to wound the novitiates. We wound them 3 times. These are -2. The Novitiates are in cover, so it's almost like having power armor, but they don't get Armor of Contempt. So I've got 3 saves of 5 up to make. 3 of the Novitiates are dead. The noise you can hear in the background is my neighbour using her eviscerator to chase her husband. Maybe not, but I've got 12 Sonic Blasters to fire right now. 3 Novitiates are already dead from the Blastmaster. Any 6s will be exploding. Let's see what happens. So, we've missed with 6. We gained 2 additional shots back. That's good. We need 3s to wound. Okay. So we have wounded 4 times. Would just be their straight armor save. 4 up, behind cover, 3 up, -1, 4 up. So let's see. So 2 save, 2 die. So that's half the unit gone of those Novitiates. As a Chaos player, I think it's always good to see your opponent remove servants of the Corpse God from the board. So we're taking 5 from this unit. I'm being rather indiscriminate about it, not thinking tactically as such. I'm thinking, well, this is where the fire is coming from narratively, so that's why I'm taking off here. So we have 5 Novitiates left. Maybe those warp talons here will get a successful charge. That's a bit of a leap for them, but who knows? Let's see what happens. You can see that the Dreadclaw is in position to land again, ready for the Noise Marines to collect the relic and for them to fly as far away as possible with it. Let's see whether that stratagem from the Noise Marines works effectively. They've still got the Sister of Correction Battle Sisters to deal with, as well as the Daughters of Charity have just come onto the battle board. So let's see what happens. The cultists with their makeshift firearms have managed to kill one of the Novitiates from the Sisters of Correction. So that one's going off the board, like so, only leaving 4, so they will need a morale check. They're looking rather vulnerable up there now, despite being in cover. The Noise Marines here are going to now focus on this Rhino and use Excruciating Frequent. Because the Emperor's Children ignore all modifiers to hit, I'm going to use the single frequency profile of the Blastmaster into the Rhino. I'm also going to play the stratagem Excruciating Frequencies, taking the number of command points the Emperor's Children have available to them to 6. So let's see whether I can get some 6s on the wound rolls to increase the AP, but also to cause a mortal wound, which would be very, very useful indeed. So we have 3 hits. It's Strength 8, Toughness 7, Need 3s. So we only wound once, no mortal wound caused. It is -3, so we need a 6. So that Rhino has taken 4 damage. Watch this. But if we look over here at this part of the battle board, it's not looking particularly good for the Emperor's Children. I think this zone here is lost to them. Everything is going to depend on these Noise Marines and these Terminators here. Whether the Terminators with their 2 melter guns can destroy this. These Noise Marines here are going to use their sonic weaponry to remove as many of the Sisters of Correction as possible, wearing the last suits of power armour this Holy Order has working. I don't know about you Chaos players right now, or Emperor's Children players for that matter, or just supporters of Slaanesh. I want to see some 6s on these dice for the Blastmaster using its varied frequencies. They have advanced, absolutely fine, they're assault weapons. Let's see. Yay, that's good. So actually all 6 hit. So, they are Strength 5, need 3s to wound. 3 of them wound. The Emperor's Children's flawless precision, their flawless perfection with their weaponry means that on 6s they get an additional AP. So these are, rather than -2, are -3. However, if you were to look over the board and I will zoom in, you will see that the Sisters of Correction are in cover. So their armor save would be normally 3+, so that goes to 2 up. So they're going to need 5s on the dice, but because of Armor of Contempt as well, they're going to need 4s. So we're going to need 4s on 2 of the dice. So I'll roll those first, and that one at 5 we're going to need a 3. So let's see what happens. Okay, so both of those are saved. This one here saves as well. So let's see whether the Sonic Blasters are able to chip away. With this being narrative, you do, don't you? But let's see. Wow, well that's good. So we're going to get 4 additional hits. Okay, very handy indeed. These are only strength 4 though, so we're going to need 3s to hit. 3s to wound, sorry. So, a considerable amount of damage caused there. So these here are -2 because of faultless precision, flawless perfection, whichever you wish to call it, means the same to me. So, these are going to be 2-ups because they're in cover. So let's do those first. These are going to be 3-ups. You definitely needed that 2-up because they're in cover and because of Armor of Contempt. And these 4, we're going to need 3s because of the additional AP. And they save 2. So overall, that wasn't very successful for those Noise Marines. They would have hoped to have wounded at least some of those Sisters of Correction so that they could approach the relic, seize it, get in the Dreadclaw and fly away to safety, making it much harder for the Daughters of Charity and the Sisters of Correction to reach. 2 melter guns carried by the Emperor's Children's First Company are going to fire into that emulator. 2 melters, needing 3s to hit. Both hit. Strength 8, toughness 7, need 3s. 1 wounds. However, that is an additional AP, making that -5. So that melter gun burns right through the armor of this emulator. The emulator will survive the attack, however, using its Shield of Faith on a 6-up, which it doesn't get. So it's D6 plus 2. Now is the time to re-roll damage if this is not successful. That's 4 damage. I'm gonna try and re-roll that, taking the Emperor's Children down to 5. To 3 damage. Ugh. Oh. Who says rolling damage is good? Hopefully they will destroy it. The Noise Marines were largely unsuccessful. They were unsuccessful because they did not damage any of the Sisters of Correction. We will then move on to combat. which really at the moment is a bit of a stalemate. However, with the cultists ready to run into this combat here, and now with the Warp Talons having plenty of space to land on this platform here, it's not looking good for the Daughters of Correction. The Sisters of Correction even. That's the problem when you're trying to play two holy orders at once. Over here, as I said earlier, it's a bit of a stalemate. Perhaps if the Sisters of Correction can destroy those remaining suits of Terminator armour, those penitent engines may prove useful to protect the Scepter of Correction, but we will see what happens next. These Terminators from the Emperor's Children's first company are going to charge into the Immolator. Okay, do those Emperor's Children make it into combat? With a 4 they do not. However, should have done it the other way round. Doesn't matter, just me playing. Mistakes will be made. Let's see if the Immolator with its multi-melters can damage these remaining Terminators. I hope they do, for the simple reason that that will be a sector of the board clear. I'm going to use a Faith dice as well, so that's 1 hit, and I have 1 more. That could be enough to kill them. It's Strength 8. Need 2s. Both wound. They are -4. So it's the 5 up invulnerables. 1 saves. Let's see how much damage it does. 1 + 2, 3, killing a Terminator. Over here, these cultists are going to run into this combat to save these Legionnaires. Who would have thought it, eh? Do the cultists make it? They do with a 7. Embarrassment of it. And these Warp Talons are going to leap into the air like the camera and try and land here and take out these Novitiates. If they do that, they're then in cover. Do the Warp Talons make it? They do not. What about the Composer? Big leap of faith here. Certainly not. Because of Dark Zealotry, the cultists get to re-roll their hit rolls. So the first one on the Repentia hits. Does it wound on a 4? It does wound. And we get a shrug for the Repentia. Just get the dice out. And the Repentia shrugs that. Fantastic. So now let's do the 6 attacks on the Canoness. So they all hit except 1. So 5 hits. Again, these need 4s to wound. Let's roll them all together. Okay, so 3 wounds. So the Canoness has got to make 3 armor saves, 3 power armor saves. They're 3 up. Let's see what happens. She saves all 3 of those. Fantastic. And then we've got the cultist champion, who's using a brutal assault weapon. And it makes 1 additional attack. So let's see what happens. So it misses twice, but it gets to re-roll. Again, only 1 hit. So it's strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds. Does she save? She saves. So the cultists were largely ineffective there. Because the Emperor's Children always fight first, it's a bit of a tough decision to make here. Whether I interrupt with the Canoness to hit back, or with the Inquisitor, or with the Repentia. Personally, due to the damage outlay the Repentia can deal, I think I'm going to go with them next to see if they can clear the Legionnaires to save the Canoness from any further attacks. Let's see what happens. So 10 attacks. Let's see what happens. So they miss with 2, but they get 3, sorry, but they get to re-roll thanks to their Sister Superior. So 9 hits. They are strength 6 against toughness 4. Sorry about the shaking there. Let's see what happens. Need 3s. So 2 do not wound, but these cause 2 damage. They are AP -3, reduced to -2. So we have got 7 to save. Come on, Emperor's Children. Come on, Legionnaires. Each one of these will kill a Legionnaire. They lose 2. So the Legionnaires lose 2. I'm going to take from here, from Inquisitor and Braxton's opponent, and from here, because this is where the majority of the Repentia are. That leaves 1 Legionnaire left in combat with the Canoness. And that's where I'm going to head next to carry on this fight. I think this Legionnaire knows that if it doesn't strike next, it could be killed by the Canoness. Next, we then have the Terminators on the Penitent engines and the remaining Terminator on the other Repentia squad. I've interrupted, so they will go first. The Emperor's Children have taken significant casualties in every combat. The Sisters of Correction are holding their lines, but they know with the second wave of Emperor's Children approaching, their end is near. Their only salvation is the Daughters of Charity, who can hold off the Emperor's Children. But in doing so, they will have to submit to their will. They will have to hand over the Sceptre of Correction, which they have been protecting for thousands of years. They have a difficult decision to make. Is it better to fight a battle on a single front with a devoted ally, or try and fight a war on 2 fronts knowing the sceptre will be lost? Sister of Corrections Dialogus is going to pray. Let's see if she's successful with the refrain of blazing piety. It goes off with a 6. D3 mortal wounds. She causes 3 mortal wounds, killing a noise marine. This could be a significant turning point with the Celestians, who are protecting Canoness Superior Cleona, entering the Holy Temple of Correction, seizing the Scepter of Correction with no resistance from the sisters who have been protecting it for thousands of years. The Sisters of Correction know that to win this battle, to save themselves and the Scepter of Correction, they must work with the Daughters of Charity, who have disembarked from their vehicles and ready to face the second wave of Emperor's children approaching their position. This is a make or break turn for the Emperor's children. If they can hold out, they still have a chance of seizing the scepter. It will be difficult, but there is a chance. For them, the pleasure of the kill is far greater than the objective they have been tasked to achieve. Maybe they will retreat today and we will find them again on the battlefield in Shrine's capital at the Basilica, where the Daughters of Charity are holding out, protecting the faith switch at all costs. Daughters of Charity who have disembarked from their rhino are going to concentrate their fire at these noise marines here in an attempt to clear them from the battle board. They will be supported by the heavy flamer and heavy bolter of the immolator, which still contains the dominions. I'm going to use Holy Trinity because there is a heavy flamer, a melter gun and bolt guns in that unit to give them a +1 to wound. Their sacred rite is divine guidance, and I will be using the cherub this turn too. So let's see what happens. So the cherub gives me a 4, handy. So I'm going to use that automatically to hit with the melter gun. It's +1 to wound. So I need a 2. I get a 6, so that's +1 on the AP. So rather than -4, it's going to be -5. Back to -4. It's not in half range, so it goes straight through the power armor, so there's no save to make. Let's see what damage it does. It does 3 wounds, killing one of the noise marines. Rather than roll to see how many flamer hits I get, I'm going to use one of my holy dice. So I get 6 shots off. These are going to be strength 5. No, strength 6 because this is a Ministorum heavy flamer. Let's see what happens. I need 3s. Okay, I wound with 4 of them. These are AP -1, so straight power armor saves for those noise marines. They save all 4 of them. The plasma gun is going to rapid fire at full strength. Let's see what happens. 3 to hit. They both hit. Strength 8, so I'm going to need 2s to wound. They both wound. These are at -3, so they're -2. I need 5s to save. Neither of them, so that's another 2. So out of that unit of 5, 2 more are dead, leaving the bolt guns left. Let's see if they can finish them off using Holy Trinity, only needing 3s to wound. After killing 3 of their number, the heavy flamer is now going to unleash its heavy bolter into the remaining noise. 2d6. 9 shots. These are strength 6. That means I only need 3s to wound. Okay. 5 wound. So we've got the heavy bolter, but let's see if they can make those saves. So 5 free ups. So 1 goes through. One of the noise marines has taken a wound. Then we have the heavy bolter. 1 hit, 1 wound. So let's see what happens. Saved. Rather than split fire, the remaining novitiates who pass their morale test at the end of the Emperor's Children's turn 2 are going to fire at the remaining noise marines. Strategically, I'm wondering whether that was an error, whether I should have gone for the warp talons. But we're going to concentrate our fire, continue to whittle that unit down. It may mean that the charge here will not happen, and we'll need a longer charge to go into these noise marines. But that's fine. We've still got the warp talons to deal with. Cultists are engaged in combat, and you can just see that those noise marines look pretty isolated over there. Let's see what happens. Supercharged plasma pistol needs a 3 to hit. Hits. Strength 8 needs a 2 to wound. Doesn't wound. I am going to use a reroll, taking me down to 5. Does wound. It's -3, -2. So we're going to need a 5. We don't, and that kills the wounded noise marine. So 6 shots with the novitiate, Minister and Flamer. These are strength 5. So we're going to need 3s to wound. Let's see what happens. Okay, 4 wounds. So 3 ups. Oh my. The combined Sisters of Correction and Daughters of Charity Fire, this squad of noise marines has been destroyed. So before the Celestians open fire, Peter Braxton is going to burn these heretics with his master-crafted multi-motor. Then, if there's any left, the Celestians will try and finish them off. The Immolate over here is going to use its multi-melters to kill that Terminator. This Dreadclaw, they have decided, is no threat. Inquisitor Peter Abraxan is going to fire his master-crafted multi-melter into the Noise Marines. That means he needs 3s to hit with a reroll because of quarry. Let's see what happens. Hits twice. It is strength 8. Okay, can re-roll the wound roll. So, two wounds at -4. These will be -3. So we need 6s. They are at half range, so it's D6 plus 2. Okay, so 1 saves. Well done, Noise Marines. Let's see what the damage is. Doesn't matter. That will be 3 wounds, so 1 has died. Blessed bolts from the Celestian carrying a Storm Bolter at rapid fire range. Needs 4s to hit. Okay, so that's a mortal wound with 1 hit. Hit strength 4, toughness 4. Need a 4. It wounds. It would be -1. But it's a straight save, but these do cause 2 damage because they are Artificer Storm Bolters, but saves, so 1 mortal wound has been taken.
The melter gun.
Needs a 3. Hits. Needs a 2 to wound. Wounds. This is, the hit roll was a 6, so because of divine guidance, that's now -5. So it's now -4. Automatically goes through. Let's see what the damage is. It will be +2. So 7 wounds, killing a Noise Marine. Because the Storm Bolter has caused 1 mortal wound, I'm going to fire the bolt guns first to see if we can kill that Noise Marine, and then move on to the Melter and the Flamer. So, there are 2 there. So let's rapid fire. So 2 hits. 4's to wound. 1 wound. So that Noise Marine is dead. Combi Melter carried by the Celestine Superior. However, I'm not going to fire the bolter element of the gun. I'm just going to concentrate with the melter. So I need a 3 to hit. Hits. I need a 2 to wound. Wounds. It is only -4, not -5, because I didn't get a 6 on the wound roll for divine intervention. So they need a 6 to save. So it's going to die anyway, but let's see what the wound is. So 3 wounds. Then we have the Flamer. 5 shots. Let's see. We've already killed 2. We have 1 left. Let's see if these 5 shots can do it. 3's to wound. Okay, so just 2 wounds. No AP. And they do. The Noise Marines closest to the relic are destroyed. So the Penitent engines fighting the Terminator, because they're a vehicle, have fired their heavy flamers into the remaining Terminator on the board, the last Terminator from the Emperor's Children's First Company. So that Terminator's got to withstand 21 heavy flamer attacks. So the Terminator, who has all its wounds, has got to make 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 saves. 15 saves with 2 up. The Terminator is dead. These Repentia are going to charge into the Noise Marines. Going to use a Holy Dice of 5, so I only need a 4 or better to charge those Noise Marines. Yep, they are in. 1 to massacre means that the Noise Marines who are overwatching will have exploding 6s if they hit, so we're going to do the Blastmaster on a varied frequency. Makes sense to maximise the number of hits possible. So we get 4 hits off. Really, really good. We then have to wound, so we need to wound on 3s. No, in fact, because it's strength 5, so it is 3s. So let's do that. 2 wound. They cause 1 damage each. So let's see if the remaining Repentia can shrug them. Neither of them. So 2 die. So to save this unit of Repentia from death, I'm going to have them attack first, then pay to interrupt for the Dialogus to hit, and then it will be the Noise Marines to fight. Then it will be one of my other units against the cultists. So, get 4 attacks. Repentia, they need 4s because those eviscerators are heavy to carry. Reroll. So they've got 4 hits. They are twice their strength, so strength 6. Because of the Repentia Superior leading the Repentia, rather than needing 3s to wound, they need 2s because of the +1. So 3 wounds. These are -3, so it's going to be -2. So let's see if they can save them. They cause 2 damage each and will kill a Noise Marine with each failed save. So we need 5s. So 2 die. Because of Psalm of the Righteous, the Dogmata gets 4 attacks rather than 3. And they also get +1 strength. So I'm hitting at strength 6 with her Mace of the Righteous. So 4 attacks. I am going to re-roll it, one of these if I fail to hit. So I've hit 3 times. Let's re-roll that one. So I only hit 3. I'm going to need 3s to wound. I am going to use a Holy Dice to guarantee that I wound once. I'm going to need 3s. I wound 3 times. So these are -2, but it's going to be -4. So let's see what happens. Another Noise Marine is dead. So the Noise Marines get to fight back. They hit all 6 times. They wound 4 times. So this is on the Repentia. The Repentia are dead. Now that the cultists are dead, when we're coming to the end of combat, the Dogmata will fight again to see if she can kill the remaining Noise Marines. She hits 3 times. I'm going to use one of my Holy Dice to guarantee I wound once. So I need 3s to wound. So 2 wounds, 3 wounds, 1 automatic, 3 saves of 4. The Noise Marines are dead. In Holy Conflagration, the Emperor's Children's advance on the Sceptre of Correction fell in pyres of dead traitor Astartes. The maddening cries of minor demons trapped inside their immobile host's deformed power armour waited for the ameliorative Middlestorm flames to reach them. In supplication, the Sisters of Correction presented the modest sceptre to Canoness Superior Cleona. Their bravery in the face of a superior enemy was considered payment for their transgression,
protecting the relic as the Daughters of Charity approached. The Sisters of Correction's devotion to the sceptre was unquestioned. Devotion, however, often breeds ignorance, except for Inquisitor Peter Abraxan, who understood its true power. He studied Primarch Logor Aurelian's scriptures. The Faith Switch was designed by him as a failsafe against compliant worlds who dare defy the Letitio Diviniatus. The Composer and their warp talons escaped the battlefield. Failure to seize the relic in the arid lands was unfortunate, but they arrogantly concluded that the sceptre would be seized just before the Daughters of Charity reached their sisterhood, defending the Faith Switch in Shrine's Holy Basilica. Pissed off, Slaanesh screamed. Because their plans were threatened by failure in the arid lands, they hurled a broiling tendril of malefic warp energy, a manifestation of the pleasure god's anger and rage, shattering Shrine Capital's basilica. Tectonic plates cracked and ruptured. Lava erupted, mortally wounding their servants and enemies embroiled in battle. Will the Daughters of Charity hold out in time for the Sceptre of Correction's return? Will Canoness Superior Cleona, harried by the Composer and their warp talons, make it back alive? Will the demons destroy the Faith Switch before the Canoness arrives? Find out in Part 2.